Welcome, my friends, to Seeking Spirit SRQ. My name is T, and I get to be your facilitator this evening. I'm coming to you, as you can see, from outdoors this evening. Isn't it true that oftentimes when we're bothered, when we're not quite settled, when something is not at ease within us, whether it's physical or emotional, intellectual or spiritual, that we can settle in a little bit in the outdoors in a way that we just don't have access to inside. Good evening, Brenda. It's good to see you this evening. And someone else has joined us. I can't quite see who that is. But if you'll greet us in the comments, I will be able to see you and greet you by name if you prefer that. And so here we are outside in our midweek spiritual check-in. It's Wednesday. It may have been a long or a fast week for you. It may have been a long or a fast day for you. In any event, we find that when we take the time for a little stillness together, that we can find a sense of community, a sense of knowing one another, and not being in it alone. Good evening, Christine. Good to see you this evening. So we're taking the time right now to steady ourselves, to accept a little bit of stillness altogether. Maybe you're inside. Maybe you wish you were outside. Or maybe you're on the move someplace yourself. Good evening, Karen. Good to have you with us. So the question that we come to answer when we get together on Wednesdays is, how is my spirit? First of all, we'll take a few moments in asking how our spirit is, to remember to take account for gratitude. What can we appreciate about this week so far? What do we have gratitude or hold gratitude for right now? What's been good to you today? We can have gratitude for things that do happen and gratitude for things that didn't happen. I'm profoundly grateful that I am well. I'm equally profoundly grateful that many that I'm in relationship with are also well. That's an easy answer right now. Even if you have challenges, some things that trouble you a little bit, aren't we grateful that in all the tales we hear of this virus, we are not suffering its impact right now? That's an easy gratitude sighting. If you're experiencing a gratitude that you'd like to share with others, you could post it. If you're not in the mood to share that, it's fine to hold it in your mind or hold it in your heart. Just allowing yourself a few moments to experience gratitude for what has happened or has not happened in your life, in the past week, or even today. Christine is sharing with us that she's able to share in a UK friend's licensing for ordination by Zoom today. Oh my goodness, we're going to have some competition, aren't we? That's a perfect example of choosing in the middle of circumstances, whatever they may be. And I can choose gratitude, hopefully that you can hear me, even with my friend over here who has decided to turn on a motor right now. The unexpected can bring us to gratitude, or it can bring us to trouble. Some of that is based on our perception of it and how we receive it. I can imagine, Christine, that your friend, having worked long and hard for ordination, wasn't expecting to do it by Zoom. And I am hopeful that somehow, in the contact that that digital presence allowed, you were able to celebrate together. You could feel the joy. You could feel a sense of being together across this great wide difference in geography and the difference in the ways that we are doing things now. So we've taken a moment to check in to gratitude and appreciation and overcoming interruptions and intrusions that we didn't expect. We have a lot of practice with that recently, don't we? The question we remain aware of is, how is our spirit right now? I'm going to speak to you for a little bit tonight from a lovely book, and there's also an app, called Reimagining the Examen. Reimagining the Examen was written by Mike Thibodeau. I hope I'm saying it correctly. And Mike Thibodeau has created a contemporary version, and there are dozens of them, of questions that we can ask ourselves or consider in answering the question, how is my spirit? I'm so happy to see, Christine, that your friend's spirit was undaunted in her ordination and that you were able to celebrate across the waves together. As we consider one of Michael Thibodeau's writings on these questions to check spiritual wellness or how our spirit is, he talks about spirit shifting. And so the question that he asks us to consider is, has there been a shift in my spirit recently? Have I noticed a shift in my attitude? Is there a shift or change in my behavior that I should give a little attention to? Am I feeling hopeful, despondent, aggravated, anxious, needy? Or am I feeling accepting? Is there a shift in my spirit that God would have me pay attention to? One of the questions that he asks is, am I snapping at people or am I smiling at them? I assure you it's possible to do both. I am snapping at people occasionally, especially the convenient ones, and I am smiling at people quite often in the midst of whatever is going on. So there has been a shift in my spirit, if I answer that question. I'm not snapping at people by nature. However, there's a lot of aggravation in adjustment, and the adjustment that we seem to be responsible for right now is continual. You might be finding yourself snapping one minute and smiling the next. Let's take a moment and consider, have we had a spirit shift that we notice by our behavior or by our attitudes? Have we had a spiritual shift? Have we noticed a change in ourselves? As we consider that and possibly identify a spiritual shift, the next question comes very naturally. Do I like this shift? Do I think that this shift pleases God? If I asked God about this shift, would God be concerned for my spiritual wellness right now? Or would God be pleased and at ease with how I am in my spirit? Well, as I've shared with you, God could be pleased one minute and concerned the next. I'm thankful to know and to share with you that whether or not we feel that we're pleasing God or concerning God, it doesn't change the distance from God. God is right here with us in the midst of any and every spiritual shift we may have. So we've considered, do we have a shift we notice? And do we feel that that shift is good? Do we like it? Or would we change it? Christine shares with us that we are a work in progress and that God says that. I agree. We are a work in progress, and growth can come in almost any situation. As we consider something that we might like to change, like my neighbor right now, or something that we would like possibly to hold on to, have you glimpsed a hope that sprang up in the middle of a difficulty? Maybe the shift is good. Maybe you'd like to hold on to that shift. Maybe you feel joy. Maybe you feel more complete. Maybe you feel success in a growth that you've been longing for, in a shift change that you're noticing right now. I hope that for you. I hope that for myself. Having considered and checked in with what we notice about our spirit, the next step could be to ask God to show us newness. If we're snapping at people, that newness might be a different sort of endurance, a different level of patience that might, by our request and our practice, come more naturally to us than it has recently. Or we are very pleased with the hope or the kindness or the consideration that we have noticed in our spirit, and we would like that newness to be retaining that, holding on to it, holding fast to a better thing that we want more of. I would agree that I have experienced the newness recently of renewal in nature, which is why I chose to do this here tonight. And I would hope that for you. Somehow, there are lots of theories about it. Somehow, being outside, being in nature, can slow us down or focus us in ways that we appreciate. So if you're asking God for newness, we join you in that. And we'll take a few moments right now to join you quietly in the request, even the search, to receive or to maintain newness in your spirit. I am often thankful that we can be a new creation with God's help every day, sometimes every hour, and that we know that we don't do things in our own strength. We are empowered. And so whatever it may be that you are requesting newness for, or claiming newness for, or experiencing newness for, I claim it with you. Some folks, as they consider a shift in their spirit, might find an unpleasant thing. They may find that they're feeling bothered in a relationship with someone, disappointed in how things are going, even disappointed in themselves. I've talked to a number of people this very week that have such reasons for themselves that they're finding themselves in a state of disappointment. Somehow, they feel like they should be on top of things, even things they never expected, things they have no control over. And that feeling of disappointment in themselves, they're expressing as anger. That's the word they chose for the shift in their spirit. Although Thibodeau didn't use that question in his writing of these questions, it's a valid one. Is there a shift in your spirit that feels angry? Are you expecting yourself to adapt and adjust and be on top of things at a rate that just isn't possible? Are we relying on our own strength and not depending on the strength of God? It's so easy to feel overwhelmed right now. That could be a spiritual shift, a state of being overwhelmed. The next question that Thibodeau would have us consider is, should I continue with this shift? Or should I change course? When I consider the shift that I identified, in light of God's love, God's healing, God's capacity, do I feel it necessary or good to continue the shift? Or am I asking God's help in changing course? One of the most frequent concerns I hear is too busy. If there's a shift in my spirit, could it be because I'm expecting to get too much done in a day, in a week? Am I too busy? Am I taking upon myself things that would be better left in God's care? Or am I taking on myself things that I could share with someone else? Thibodeau asks us to consider, is there someone I should speak to about a shift in my spirit? Is there a trusted friend? Is there a partner? Is there an advisor or spiritual mentor or spiritual anchor even that I could speak to about the shift in my spirit and receive some relief? We can consider for a moment that not only do we have God's help, but frequently we have access to the help of someone else if we take the time to allow ourselves to receive it. So Thibodeau asks us, do we need to consider speaking to someone about the shift we identified in our spirit? Suppose it was a terrific and positive shift. Wouldn't you like to share that with someone? Wouldn't it uplift someone's day, someone that cares about you, to hear that something's going especially good? It might be worth that action. Thibodeau ends this series of questions by asking us to consider, along with this spiritual shift, am I doing what I feel called to do in this day, in this week that I'm considering? Am I being who I feel called to be, even if I'm in a growth pattern for that? So he asks us, once we consider who we're called to be, am I being that now? This evening we've talked together about spiritual shifts, and we've used the material that was provided for us by Reimagining the Examine by Mike Thibodeau. Christine shares with us that a member of her Emmaus reunion group called to share medical news, and they were thankful for her. Isn't it a joy to celebrate with someone that takes the time to call us with good news? Maybe you could be that person soon. Maybe you could be that person now. Often we have good news, even if the good news is, guess what? I'm well and healthy and struggling right along with you. That could be good news too. This evening I'm going to leave you with the lyrics of a favorite song that's called Spirit of the Living God. If you know it, you could speak it right along with me. Or if you feel like singing it, you could sing it with me. I'm not in singing voice right now. I've been outside a lot, so I'll just speak them to you. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. I thank you for joining together this evening. I hope that this little bit of time together has allowed you to identify gratitude, to check in on whether or not you've had a shift in your spirit, and to be assured that whether that shift is a good one you'd like to keep or one that troubles you, there are ways to grow, to keep it, or to change it. That God is nearby and always ready to help, and that you have others, even if we're digital online, that would help in any way we were able. I wish you blessings. I wish you ease. I wish you joy and growth. Until next week, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, when we can meet here again, please go with God.